Hello, welcome. So today we are going to be making a start, and this was requested a few times, on the Kevin in a Big Rig saga story. I don't really think it's a saga because there's like 9 parts, but yeah, we're gonna get started on that today. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to, please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, so I managed to find someone had posted the links to every single one on the Stories About Kevin subreddit. So that was posted by Alias the J. I will link it, but it's there. It's there on the screen if you need to see what it looks like, if you want to go and find it yourself. So apparently, the whole saga doesn't start, according to this user, until part 2, because the first post is about a different Kevin. Anyway, let's get into it. So first post, posted by Strong Bad Jr., Kevin violates parole. Okie dokie then. A few years ago, I was a driver trainer for a large trucking company. Basically, my job was to take newly minted truck drivers and teach them how to handle themselves in the real world. Sometimes it was easy, other times it was like teaching a fish to play tennis. I can just imagine. One of my students, the Kevin of the story, was so dense he made a lead brick seem like a feather pillow. Not because of his driving, but because he almost got himself and me arrested. Here's the story. Oh no. Kevin was on my truck for about 3 weeks. He wasn't the worst student I had, another Kevin has that honour, but he was far from the best. At week 2, we end up stuck in Salt Lake City, Utah, after delivering a load. It was a slow time of year, and CLC had always been a sparse area for outgoing loads, so I expected to have to wait to leave out. Not a big deal, I needed the downtime. Kevin, from out of nowhere, started to seem anxious about something. When I ask him why he's so tense, he tells me that he needs to get his license changed to his home state. He lived in Louisiana, but his license was from Iowa. The company used a loophole in Iowa state law by granting temporary residency to students to get them a license. After the license was issued, they had 30 days to get it switched to their home state. Not a major issue, since management knew the drill and would get us to students' home stay in plenty of time. Dude, Kevin asked, when can we go to Louisiana? I need to get my license changed. He asked this every day for a week, but it wasn't until we were stuck in CLC that it really seemed to bug him. Look, I've told dispatch you need to get home. They'll work it out. Just relax. He didn't. Oh, God. After 3 days, we finally get to leave CLC bound for Chicago. It takes a few days, and the entire trip I can tell that he's getting more and more nervous. Eventually, he can't talk about anything else except how he needs to get home. He was getting pretty annoying. Oh no. And you're stuck in a cabin with him. Oh, OP. I feel bad for you. We make our delivery in Chicago and get another going to Laredo, Texas. I don't know if I said that right. Normally, we would have gone through Houston, Texas, but this happened during the massive floods, and I knew going that way would be a bad idea. Fortunately, I found a way that would avoid the flood and get Kevin to his hometown. Better still, we would have time for him to get a ride to the DMV, get his license changed, and still make delivery in plenty of time. Win, win, win. And Kevin finally seemed relieved. We get to Kevin's hometown on a Sunday afternoon. As he gets ready to leave, I tell him, first thing in the morning, get your ass to the DMV, get your license taken care of, and get back here pronto so we can get going. He says, okay, and leaves with his girlfriend while I enjoy some time to myself. Much needed time to yourself, OP, too. My goodness. I know what it's like having someone wittering the same demand in your ear for days on end because I have kids, and let me tell you, it'll have you wanting to bang your head up against a brick wall. The next morning, I give Kevin until 10 a.m. before I start getting impatient. I texted him asking him where he was and got no reply. I text again, no answer. I call. No answer. I tell dispatch, who's asking me when we'll get moving, that Kevin has disappeared. He was supposed to get his license changed over, but I haven't heard from him all day. Dispatch tries to call him and they don't have any better luck. Apparently, Kevin has disappeared. By late afternoon, I start getting the feeling that this little has bailed on me and wasted my time. This was a common occurrence for new drivers. I tell dispatch that I'll give him until this morning to reach out. If he doesn't, I'll continue on to Laredo on my own. There was still plenty of time and dispatch agreed. Morning came, Kevin was still AWOL, and I was out of patience. I send him one more text telling him I'm leaving without him and head out. I drive for several hours before taking a mandatory break and check my messages. To my surprise, Kevin reached out. Hey man, my wait there. Parole officer, okay. My parole officer found out I took a job driving and was pissed that I left Louisiana. Yeah, because if you have a parole officer in the States, am I right in thinking that you're not supposed to leave your home state or wherever that you are situated at that time? Oops. He told me to get back as soon as possible or she would have me listed as a fugitive. I called her yesterday, Monday, but she's out of town and told me to wait till she gets back on Wednesday. Why would you take a driving job? A truck driving job? If you are on parole? Goodness. I'm completely shocked. PO? As in parole officer? Kevin, are you telling me you're on parole and leaving the state without permission? Yeah, I was in jail for selling dope. I got parole for 2 years. I didn't think it'd be a big deal since I was working. Dude, you violated your parole. You'll be lucky if you don't end up back in jail. Well, my parole officer says she wants to talk about it Wednesday. Yeah, I imagine so. You better get in touch with dispatch and let them know so they can work something out. I end the conversation and continue on to Laredo. Laredo. I keep saying it different. I'm sorry. Laredo. I deliver the load and pick up another headed to Atlanta, GA. Thursday, I call Kevin to find out what the deal was. He tells me that his parole officer gave him the okay to keep working. Did she though? Because my confidence would be pretty low on believing him. I assume you have some kind of official document that says that, I tell him. No, she didn't give me one. Then you better get one because there is no way in hell I'm leaving the state with you unless I have something from the state saying it's okay. Why? Because, dumbass, if I carry you across state lines knowing that you're violating parole, that makes me an accessory to felony. I'm not going to jail for your stupidity. Oh, okay, I'll ask her. I tell Kevin when and where to meet me. I tell him that if he disappears again, I'm not coming back to get him. He says he understands. I get to the location when I said I would, and he's nowhere to be seen. I text, no answer. By this point, my patience for this clown is completely gone. I tell dispatch I don't trust this guy's word, and I'm not taking a chance on him lying to me. I leave out again and head for Atlanta. Kevin does reach out 6 hours later and wants to know if I'll come back for him. I tell him that he has lied 3 times and acted so shady that I can't trust him to do the right thing. If he wants to finish his training, he can sort something out with management, but there's not a chance in hell that he will see me again. Fast forward a few months, I found out from dispatch that Kevin's parole officer had not given him permission to leave the state again. Apparently, I made the right call by leaving him there. Fortunately, they weren't interested in prosecuting me. I have no idea what happened to Kevin, but I imagine he did something else that was stupid and landed back in prison. As for me, I took a break from training after the whole debacle. This Kevin wasn't the only one I had during my time as a trainer, and he definitely wasn't the worst. But for dragging me into this parole violation, he is firmly in the top 10. Oh God. Yeah, that could have wound you up in a lot of trouble. So then down in the comments, Liz1065 says, I work in the healthcare field. I am not familiar with truck driving. It isn't common practice to do a background check before hiring? And then OP says it most certainly is, and the company claimed that a background check was a necessary part of the hiring process. However, a friend of mine who worked in the company's recruiting department later told me that the backgrounds typically took 4 to 6 weeks to come back. Don't ask me why. The hiring process only took about 3 to 4 days, long enough for the company to check an applicant's DMV records. I brought this up to my fleet manager at the time and never got a straight answer. It was a shady company anyway. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that, to be honest with you, and not one bit, but oh my goodness. As if he just thought that he could be like, yeah, she said I could go. Mum said I could go. Shut up, Kevin. Stop trying to get people in trouble. So, the next story, Kevin in a Big Rig Part 2, First Day, First Kevin. First of all, a big thank you to everyone who upvoted and commented on my first post in the Stories About Kevin subreddit titled Kevin Violates Parole. These sounds like a kid's story, don't they? Like little books. We used to have like, Mr. Brown goes, I don't know, to the library. I can't friggin' remember, but it's giving me those vibes, these titles. I can't begin to tell you how humbled and honoured that people have found the tales of an old truck driver interesting. As requested, I decided to post several of these stories in a series. I've decided to call the series Kevin in a Big Rig, and I hope you all enjoy. If you haven't read Kevin Violates Parole, I'll include the link below, and obviously I cut out the link because obviously we've already read it. And now for Kevin in a Big Rig Part 2, First Day, First Kevin. The first Kevin I encountered when I became a truck driver was by far the absolute worst. To say that he was as dumb as a box of hammers would be insulting. To the hammers. Even now, 6 years later, I can scarcely believe the majority of the things this guy did that ranged from really, dude, to oh my god, how can you still be alive being so dumb? The worst part is that I had to share a truck with this guy for nearly 3 months, including trying to sleep with him driving an £80,000 vehicle, flipping heck, without adult supervision. Please keep that in mind as the story progresses. Will do, it's up there in the old brain box, don't you worry. When I met this Kevin, I'll refer to him as FK for First Kevin, I had just completed my 6-week training period with my driver trainer after I received my CDL. The standard policy of the company was to pair 2 drivers who lived relatively close to one another so that both drivers could take home time at the same time. We typically stayed out on the road for weeks, sometimes months at a time, working constantly. Unfortunately for me, FK was the driver that lived closest to me at the time, who had no co-driver at the time. Oh goody, you pulled the short straw, hey love. So I get paired with FK, and the first day, I could feel the stupid vibes pouring off him. Oh no. I was born and raised in the southeastern US, and, even to me, calling this guy white trash would be an understatement. He bragged about his family being in the KKK. My god, he bragged about that. Ew. But he accepted his driver trainer, who was black. But being a new hire and bottom rung of the ladder, I shrugged it off. The first day, FK and I are paired up. We pick up a load going to the LA area. FK thinking that because he has a whopping 2 weeks more driving experience than I do, that he should be the one to take the first shift because I don't trust you yet. Oh, wow. I should explain, this was not his personal truck. It was owned by the company, and he was not a supervisor of any kind. I didn't care, so I rode shotgun for a bit. As soon as FK starts driving, I am immediately grateful for the driver trainer I had. FK reminds me of my time at CDL school when I would be in the truck with 4 other students and an instructor. Student truck drivers are notorious for being clumsy behind the wheel, but they tend to find their groove while out with a trainer. FK, on the other hand, thought the bouncing gear changes, excessive revving, and braking so hard that a simple 4-way stop feels like landing on an aircraft carrier. I wasn't very experienced, so I thought nothing about it. For long. We get fueled at a nearby truck stop and head west. Once we're on the interstate, I notice FK keeps picking up a spiral-bound notebook, looking at something, then putting it down. He does this every few minutes for about an hour before I ask what he's looking at. FK gets a shit-eating grin on his face and hands it to me. It's the route the company sent us. You know, since we're company drivers, we have to follow the company route. Okay, so why do you keep looking at it? The next turnoff is at least 200 miles away. Yeah, but I keep forgetting. Also, not having to turn for 200 miles is crazy. I don't think there's a single road on the UK, unless you were just basically following, I don't know, the motorway. I don't know, could you do that for 200 miles without turning at all once? I don't know, but that's wild. Note that FK had a perfectly good truck-specific GPS in the truck, and the route was programmed in. You program the GPS, right? I asked. Just follow that. It's telling you the same thing as your notes. He mumbled something about how it's so important that we follow the company route or we'd get written up, and he was gonna do everything right and blah blah blah. I just let it go. So, we're still going down the interstate, FK driving and religiously checking his precious notebook every 5 minutes. It's around rush hour and we were in a fairly large populated area. I start seeing signs of road construction and traffic is beginning to stack up, but FK is still looking at his notebook and not slowing down. Traffic is quickly becoming bumper to bumper and FK still hasn't seemed to notice. It's then that I see the issue. The 2 left lanes are closed due to construction. FK is driving in the centre lane of a 4-lane section of interstate. The far left lane is already closed and the centre left, the lane we are currently in, is about to close in less than a mile. FK is still reading his notebook, take it off him and smack him with it. Drives right up to the point where the orange barrels mark the start of the lane closure, and that was a joke, by the way, for the stupid AI whatever it is that checks every videos now, and apparently when people have been bumping their mic, it has been thinking that people are hitting kids. So that's wild. Dude, get over, I tell him, and instinctively check the passenger side mirror to check for traffic. It's then that I notice the other semi hauling ass up on our right side. FK looks up, sees the barrels, and no signal, no mirror check, just merges right. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, that's when your life flashes before your eyes, I suppose. Whoa, 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 I yell, just as the other truck blows past, raring down on the air horn. I briefly glimpse the other driver's face, and he is pissed. Not that I blame him. FK looks sheepish and starts mumbling something about idiot drivers. That would be you, FK. Yes, well done. But at the time, I'm still trying to keep from going into full-on heart attack. I stay up front until we clear the construction zone and then climb back in the bunk to get some rest. Emphasis on try. I had to drive the night shift and I knew better than to drive without sleep. His less than expert truck handling did not help matters. A few hours later, I wake up to sounds of air brakes releasing. I hear FK yelling he's out of time to drive and I need to take over. I pull my boots on, sign in as the active driver to the truck's electronic log terminal and settle into the driver's seat. It's at that point that I look out through the windshield and see something odd. It's dark, of course, but in the headlights, I see 2 white lines converging at an angle just ahead of the truck. I look to the left and the dim reflection of emergency flashes light up cat-eye reflectors on a white dash centre line between 2 solid white right-of-way boundary lines. It's pretty obvious FK, in his lack of wisdom, had stopped the truck right at the merging point of a highway on-ramp, and a major highway. Where the fuck are we, I demand? I don't know, but I ran out of hours and this was the only place I could find. That was bullshit because there was rest area 10 miles before that would have been a much better place to stop. Dude, do you have any idea how dangerous this is? Not to mention illegal? Well, I had to stop somewhere. Anyway, I gotta pee. He goes to get out of the truck. No the fuck You don't, I say, pulling on the seatbelt, releasing the brake, and putting the truck in gear. We are not staying here for a second longer. If you have to piss, use a Coke bottle. We're out of here. I get the truck going, thank God there was no traffic or cops at the time, while FK is grumbling about having to pee in a bottle. I don't care because I'm more concerned about not causing an accident or getting a ticket because of this idiot. He can piss his pants for all I care. He goes straight to the bunk anyway, so I don't have to listen to him. I drive the rest of the night without incident, and he takes over again early in the morning. These incidents may not seem too bad, but bear in mind that this happened in just the first day. I was with this clown for 3 months, and conditions did not improve during that time. As promised, this will become a series, and FK will star in the first few posts. Stay tuned for Kevin in a Big Rig stories. Thanks for reading. Oh my goodness, I'd be so frustrated, especially if that was like the first day. I'd also be thinking, well, it makes sense that he didn't have a co-driver or whatever you would call it, to be honest. So down in the comments, a deleted user says, quite a story. I have heard some stories from other guys and really enjoyed this one and your last post. I'm also a truck driver, so I get it. Would be cool to hear how Kevin reacts and deals with idiots in cars. That's another Reddit group if you had any experiences like that. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave this one for today. I don't know if we're going to manage to get through all of these this week because the last few posts are so long. And I mean so long. When I was saving them down, I was like, oh my God. It's going to take ages to read these ones. And I've also got a jam-packed week this week of appointments and pediatrician appointments for the eldest, and it's all sorts going on this week. So I'm really going to try and make sure I put one out every day, but I really don't know if it's going to be possible. I will try. I will endeavour to do my best. But I don't know. So bear with me this week. It's going to be a bit of a crazy one, unfortunately. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.